Her many voices, her many voices, her many voices, her many voices.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Hello, hello. Welcome to another Lunch and Learn. We're so excited.
Yes, and we actually have a little bit of a change at the last minute. Fortunately, we've got Kellie Berns from Earth Guardians. She's the National Programs Director from Earth Guardians with us today. Jessica, who was supposed to be with us, she was with us for like 20 minutes prior to this and then completely lost the internet. She's down in Haiti. Internet, everything has been a little crazy today, period, even in the US. I'm speaking to you from Amsterdam. I'm in the Netherlands right now. I've had some tech issues, but Jess, we're so sad that we lost you, but she will be back next month. She'll be our guest for next month. And we have Kellie. I want to say thank you, honey, for joining us today at the last minute. Yeah, thank you so very much for coming in.
Yeah, very, very grateful to be here. I'm so glad that I was available. Just the little bit that I've worked with Jessica over the past many months through our partnership, I have an understanding of what takes place in Haiti in terms of internet and power and whatnot. So it's my pleasure and my honor to be here with you all and with your audience to share what I can in terms of our organization, our partnership, how we've been working together collaboratively for the past many years now. So thank you for having me.
And so I know Myrna, you two have not met before, and Myrna's kind of flying blind here because she was all ready to, she had all of her questions with Jess. So this is all going to be new to her. And the three of us are just going to hang out and do a little roundtable conversation today.
It's awesome.
Myrna, how's it going today?
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is wonderful. I'm just amazed at this last minute switch or change and everybody's flexible and I love it. Kellie, so I wasn't even aware of this partnership. I'd love to get into your work in Haiti as well. But first, do you want to just introduce us? Like, tell us who you are first and also who Earth Guardians is.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd be glad to. So again, thank you for having me. My name is Kellie Berns. I use she, her pronouns. I live on occupied Eastern Band Cherokee territory outside of so-called Asheville. My family lives throughout Western North Carolina. And I've been working with the global environmental youth-led organization by the name of Earth Guardians for almost 5 years now. So I'm very happy to be here. I am the global program director. So I work with all of our youth worldwide in helping to support and mentor them in terms of the various programs, projects, campaigns, and trainings they're working on. Our organization works at the intersection of climate and environmental justice. We might call that specifically climate justice, to uplift the voices of our youth worldwide who are working in the climate justice field in the respects of trainings, leadership development, civic engagement, art and climate justice, frontlines direct action, campaign development. We do a lot of work to support fossil fuel resistance fights throughout the United States. A lot of support in terms of food sovereignty and our youth that are working on food sovereignty initiatives, permaculture, community agriculture, et cetera, tree planting, and the list goes on. It's really about following the direction of our young people whose world, this is their world. And I see myself as not an elder, but an older in my early 40s, and just really working to pass that baton of leadership to our youth and help to mentor them and let them sort of steer the ship in terms of vision. So that's a little bit about me.
Great. So specifically, when you say youth, how old are the people who are involved and how long has Earth Guardians been around?
Yeah, great question. So we are an intergenerational organization with youth at the forefront. So we have people that are in our global crews. So our crews are the heartbeat of our organization, and they're like squads of people that want to get together and do environmental and climate justice work, really grassroots work. So it's specific to various communities globally, and we have members of our organization that are 4 or 5 years old and members that are in their 70s and 80s, right? But our primary age of the people that we work with most of the time are between 15 and 30. I'd say that's like the youth that we're really training, our youth that we bring onto staff, our youth that are coming to help lead our campaigns are in that age range. And in terms of how long we have been an organization, we started in Maui, Hawaii in 1992. Tamara Roski was the founder of the organization, and she started it as an accredited high school in Maui that was working to ban plastic bags, ban the burning of sugarcane in the fields, and things of the such. And in the late 90s, the Dalai Lama gave the school the torch of hope, and the youth went on a tour for 6 months and spoke all around the United States on protecting the environment. And there's always been this aspect of art and music intertwined into our work. And then in the late 90s, early 2000s, Earth Guardians came to Colorado. And Tamara, the family, and the other youth involved started to do, again, a lot of grassroots work to get pesticides banned in parks, to get fracking, a moratorium on fracking. And, through media attention, youth around the globe caught wind of what these youth were doing in Colorado and wanted to know how to do the same things in their communities. So at that point, we became a decentralized organization and a nonprofit, and started to support youth worldwide as a platform for helping them do their own grassroots climate justice work. So that's sort of where the seed started, and then how it grew, and now the tree that it is.
That's amazing. I want to ask a question that might take a few more minutes, but I think it's worth it. Can you share a little bit more about the story of the founder?
Yeah. So Tamara Roski, the story that she always told me over the many years that we worked together, she's no longer the executive director anymore. We now have an executive director by the name of Catherine Mongella, who is from Tanzania, where a lot of our active crews are, is actually in Africa. But the story that Tamara would always tell me is that on a very auspicious evening where there was like a Venus-Mars conjunction in the sky, her father led a group of men down one side of the Haleakala crater in Maui, and women came down the other side, and they met in the morning time down at the bottom. And at that point, Tamara passed out on a rock and started having these visions. And the visions were this young man who she believes now was her fourth child, Chuteska Martinez, came to her and flew her all across the planet. And while she was seeing the planet and the different youth that were changing the world and the different environmental problems, they were on this tour together, kind of in this dream space. And many hours later, she came to, and for about a year, she kept having these dreams and these visions of young people rising up across the planet and saving the environment and saving the future of humanity. And so it took her about a year of having these dreams to actually get motivated. She didn't have a formal education, so she never believed that she could personally do something like this. And yet she did. She started an accredited high school in Maui, which then became a global nonprofit. And last year, she resigned as the executive director, and we have a new executive director that's now from Africa, which represents more of our global, which helps with more of our global representation and the work that we're doing. We have a lot of very active crews in Africa, but that's a little taste of her, of Tamara Roski. And then her son, Chuteska Martinez, became quite a global figure. He was the youngest person to address the United Nations in 2015. He was brought on to Obama's Youth Council at one point. He has spoken worldwide and inspired youth worldwide to become climate activists. And he's a global speaker as well as a hip hop artist. And uses his art platform to really push change in the sphere of climate justice. And through his love and through his humility over the past many years, he's really stepped back to let other youth step forward and lead the way. So whereas before we had this one very strong youth leader sort of pushing the direction of our organization, through his wisdom of stepping back, we now have this beautiful platform of many, many youth leaders and youth staff that are sort of leading the charge in our work.
That is amazing. Can you share his name again? So for people who want to look him up?
Yeah, Xiuhtezcatl Martinez, Xiuh. I've got to actually spell it out. Xiuhtezcatl, and then Martinez, Martinez. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love that. Wow. It sounds like Tamra. I mean, it's clearly divinely led, right? This is clearly something that was meant to be. And now I'm just getting an idea from just a few minutes of you sharing about the impact, the global impact, the quantity. Thank you. There's the spelling for us. The quantity of work, the number of people you're impacting, the issues you're impacting. Can you try to quantify some of that for us? How many countries are you in? I mean, just give me an idea of the global impact, because I know it's significant.
Yeah, so we're working on doing an audit right now of all of our crews that are active. Over time, we've been in 60 countries and have had over 300 crews. And right now we are deciphering how many of our crews are still with us and still active. So that's still in the mix right now with our audit that's happening. But we are about to put on a project grant summit for many of our youth who applied for our micro grants this past year. And we'll have 10 of our countries represented in that project grant summit. It's on the 18th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, I believe. So that can be found on our website and on our socials. So that gives people like a taste of some of the work that our youth are doing globally right now. Yeah, in terms of numbers, it's hard to say exactly how many people are actively engaged at the moment. Like I said, we're having our audit to find that out at the moment. I think we have 50,000 followers on Instagram, so we really try to use social media as a force for good to touch youth and to get people just engaged in finding their own inspiration within the climate justice field. So again, we support everything from youth that are doing art to youth that are fighting fossil fuel pipelines, to youth that are working within the realms of policy and changing our policy. So it really runs the gamut. And then we have a number of various programs. So the way that the organization is divided or unified, so to speak, is we have our global crews, which are on the ground grassroots workers doing work. And then we have regional directors. So we have people within various continents and countries that our crews look to for support and advice. We have our staff members that are also working to represent the voices of our global on the ground crews. And then we support them with virtual and in-person trainings, as well as project grants. And recently, we started a crew in Haiti, which is really exciting. So through some of her many voices and Alicia's connections, we have a really inspired and active group that are in Haiti that we're working with, but really they're driving the force. And that's what we really try to promote, is that we want to support you as an organization for the work that you're doing in your community. And then what we can do is support you with project grants. What we can do is support you with trainings online and in person. And we can support you in connecting to a global network, which is one of our, I think, our most important assets, is that we are connecting youth and people globally that are all doing the same work, which is protecting the environment just in their own unique ways. So I think that's something that's very special about the organization.
I've been a very, very big fan of Earth Guardian's work for many years now. And I had to smile when it started to unfold in a way where Sheteshka, when he became an older person, I was really paying attention to the work he was doing. I met him in Tamara when he was little. And I was looking for a place to live in Boulder, and there was a place right next door to them. And so I spent a moment with the two of them. And you knew there was something very special about this young man. And his mom definitely had vision going on. So over the years, I've started paying attention to the work that Earth Guardians was doing. And Kellie and I were connected. And that was just it. I was like, we have to work together. We have to. The love and dedication that this woman brings to the table on a daily basis, it just spoke to the core of my soul. And now with her many voices partnering up with Earth Guardians in doing this project in Haiti, it's amazing how they lead youth. So they get to be empowered, and we get to sit back and listen to what it is that they're needing and wanting, where their drive is in taking care of mother and each other. And Earth Guardians is wonderful about setting up programs for them to come on and get these trainings and then take that back into their communities. The leaders from their communities go back in and share what they've learned with the Earth Guardians trainings. So Kellie, we've been doing this for we started maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's slow because right now, I mean, Haiti's in crisis mode, right? This is truly they're in a devastated place. This is post-earthquake. This is post-assassination of their president. This is gangs running the country at this point. And yet the young people, there's still hope, there's still drive, there's still passion and desire on just doing the things that need to be done, basic things.
Wow.
So very, very grateful that we've had this partnership with Earth Guardians.
Kellie, can you share more about that, about the particular project and specifically what's happening with your partnership?
Yeah, so like Alicia said, we came together about 3 or 4 months ago, and we started to sort of bounce ideas off of each other. It was Earth Guardians, Her Many Voices, Wind Farm, which is an ecological preserve in Haiti, and then Jess, who is supposed to be the guest today. She's been very active in our group, and then a fellow by the name of Adler and Sebastian and these others that are connected to a lot of youth in Haiti. And we just started, meeting virtually. The blessing of the pandemic is that in some ways it's connected us more, where it's disconnected us in some ways, but it's connected us more in some ways. So being comfortable on this Zoom platform, we were able to get together and just start talking about what's needed in the area. And one of the things that sounded most needed is just a sense of belonging to a group where everybody sort of has a similar vision of care. And as some of you might know, like Alicia referred to, there's plenty of problems in Haiti right now. There were already plenty of problems before the assassination and the earthquake, and even more so now. So youth and people in general need a place to come together to feel a sense of purpose, to feel a sense of community. And somehow, as it is with many groups worldwide, Earth Guardians becomes like a banner to sort of rally together and around. And so we had our first onboarding for this crew, which is how we support our crews in the beginning, is we onboard them. We introduce them to Earth Guardians, to the resources that we'll be providing and helping them with. And then we just listen to what their needs are. And one of the big projects that we're hoping to continue to work on is it's a banana plate project. There's a lot of trash in Haiti, and then a lot of styrofoam. And so people are really wanting to reduce that and to use compostable products. So Alicia has been helping to drive the push on various aspects of this project and getting these machines, this technology that can press these banana leaf plates for them. And then they're doing cleanups and other things as well. They're starting to come to some of our virtual leadership trainings. And like Alicia said, then taking those skills back into their communities. They're doing some documenting on different things that need to be paid attention to in their area. And our hope is that as our relationship builds, we can come and actually do a training all together on wind farm, whether it be planting hemp or trees or whatnot. That's undecided. But yes. Oh, and there's Adler right there. Yeah.
Right.
Great.
Nice to see you out there, Adler.
Yeah. And Adler, if you have anything to add in the comments around specifics to what your crew is doing, please go ahead.
Adler said, "Yay, Kelly, we strongly believe we can act together. We do appreciate your commitment."
Yeah, and the commitment to Adler. Adler actually is working with Her Many Voices. It's a family affair because his brother started with us, Emmanuel Saint Laurent, and Emmanuel has been helping as a coordinator for our Haiti projects. Emmanuel last year finally was able to get out of the country. He is studying in Marseille now to finish out his master's degree. And so Adler had returned to Haiti, and he is helping us now in these coordinated projects. And then he has a younger brother, Jose, who is also helping us too. And, one of the things I wanted to say is that in this machinery that Kelly was talking about that we're looking to do for the plates, this machinery actually, it can do banana leaves, hemp leaves, bamboo. So there are multiple possibilities with this particular project. And, with all of the trash that is there, it is crucial. It is crucial. And styrofoam is actually illegal in Haiti. It was made illegal, I believe, in 2013. And yet it permeates every bit of the island. Wow. So it's these kind of things that can make a huge difference in what people are experiencing down there. So.
Once again, I'm so impressed with Her Many Voices and your work on the ground, and of course Earth Guardians as well, which I'm learning more about here. You guys are both just so incredible with your impact and what you're actually doing. You're not just providing money here and there, funds. It's incredible.
Yes, and I was just going to say, and the reason why I'm in Amsterdam right now is because we have a new partnership. It's Green Revolution Foundation with Attila Suba. Attila is a Hungarian blues musician who he and one of his business associates, Jeremy Hale, contacted me a few months ago and said, hey, listen, we're interested in working with Indigenous peoples in the hemp community. And so I have flown out here and I'm in Amsterdam for a month to have meetings and create this partnership with Attila and Green Revolution. We would be happy to join the Earth Guardians, they say. So this is definitely going to happen. Attila, I've been thinking about the introduction, setting up time between you and Kelly this week, as a matter of fact. So we will definitely make this happen. And so part of what they're focusing on doing, Attila is creating a social and environmental justice cafe here starting in Amsterdam through the Green Revolution. And proceeds go back into communities like ours. A lot of folks in the Indigenous world who are really doing the good fight for social and environmental justice issues. And so when this cafe is up and running, proceeds are coming back to Her Many Voices, as well as other organizations. And those proceeds will be directly affecting this project in Haiti that we were just talking about.
That's wonderful. Alicia, you also have an interview that's posted now with you speaking with him about all that. Is that correct?
Yes. So Attila and I actually did our short, well, I guess it's our version of a little lunch and learn this last week with Aisla. And so, yes, you guys can see that. I don't know, Aisla, maybe at some point you can post there the link to that particular interview that we did just last week with Attila. And Adler is posting, yay, Kelly, we strongly believe we can act together. We do appreciate your commitment. Yes.
So I have another question for Kelly. I'm wondering if Earth Guardians had a presence in Haiti prior to this partnership with Her Many Voices.
No, we haven't. It's one of the places we haven't. So that's one of the reasons it's so exciting and again, just the power of partnership is so important, because then we can broaden our impact and broaden our relations worldwide. I do believe that the climate crisis is that which actually brings us all together in a lot of ways. And that which shows us that we aren't these individual nations, but we are a global community. And then on a micro level, our partnerships are part of the glue that's helping to bring those bonds together globally with organizations and with nations in terms of the climate crisis. So this is our first time working in Haiti, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and you guys know that the core value for Her Many Voices is whatever I do for another, I do for myself. And so we recognize that when we all work together, we rise together. And the whole collaboration with different organizations is the best way that we know how to have the greatest impact. Hence the reasons we get to spend time with Earth Guardians, as well as Green Revolution and many others to come together. And okay, to see all of the Her Many Voices presentations, you can go to the bit.ly/HMVF YouTube. And also a moment ago, we had the link to the interview we did with Attila. Thank you, Aisla. Aisla, just so you know, she is she's the wizard behind the curtain here, doing all of the tech stuff for us. So check out this link as well. And you'll be able to hear about our partnership with Attila Suba and Green Revolution.
Yes, Ailsa, thank you. She's our producer behind the scenes, working all the magic. This conversation reminds me of, the fact that in the world where we are, there's national boundaries, these political artificial boundaries, right? But really it's a global community. And with the climate crisis, all of these things, the river runs through the national boundaries. The river doesn't know there's a boundary there, right? The air is all of our air. And so it's truly global issues, as you've said, Kelly. And what's fantastic is that it all has to be addressed locally, right? On the ground with the people. And I think in the end, we're all, certainly everyone on this call and probably everyone listening, we're all humanitarians, right? What we really, really care about is humanity and the people who are affected by these issues. So I just wanted to mention that, I love this concept that when you look at the Earth from space, you don't see national boundaries, you don't see lines, because we're all in this together in the end, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And, it's simply because you're not feeling the impact of something that's happening in the world does not mean that you are not being affected or that you are not going to be feeling it at some point. Mm-hmm. We all have a responsibility to take care of each other. Mm-hmm. So if something is happening, whether it's next door or across the pond, show up, do what you can, because you're helping yourself every time you help someone else, every time.
Yeah, I believe it was Alice Walker who said that activism is my rent for living on the planet. And I think that's, I think that should be true for all of us, that is the rent that we have to be these humanitarians living on the planet. And then just the joy of getting to be here on a call like this with other humanitarians that really care to pay that rent. And and then to rally around solutions, around what is potentially going to get us out of this crisis, which I really believe is a crisis of values more than anything. That if we start to change our values around consumerism and capitalism and patriarchy, then we also are doing climate justice work. And so to hear more about the Green Revolution and just rallying around hemp and rallying around Indigenous peoples leading the way, at Earth Guardians, we really have a strong belief in those pillars, that nature, following nature, and as Alicia knows, we met around hemp, which I'm sure is like a way that she meets a lot of people. That I see hemp as a major solution. We put on a 6-part series in 2022 around hemp as an eco solution in the different fields. And 5 years ago, Shuta Scott Martinez, myself, and 5 other Indigenous youth started a new program, which is flourishing still at our organization, called the Indigenous Youth Initiative, which is really about holding space for the leadership and the growth of specifically North American Indigenous youth, although we are working to expand that program globally this year. It was born out of the movement at Standing Rock and really wanting to invite youth into Earth Guardians, Indigenous youth into Earth Guardians, to sort of forge the way and lead the way and support them in that action. So it's just great to meet other organizations that have similar values as well, to be able to unite our forces.
You know, speaking of uniting, so last year we had a very first Earth Day event, and it was a marathon event. It was 13 and a half hours worth of content. We had 5 continents, 11 countries, and 65 presenters on that day. And we are preparing for this next Earth Day event. So I'm excited to say that Earth Guardians is partnering with us for that day. And so I'm really excited about the content that you guys are going to be bringing to the table as well, since you are another international organization. You know, we get to hear from youth from all over the globe, and there's nothing better than that. You know,
That's amazing. Kelly, I want to mention that since you mentioned Standing Rock and how this Indigenous youth program started, last month we interviewed Tommy Nahulu, and he is a Hawaiian native artist actually, who certainly honors all the traditions of natives in Hawaii. And he went to Standing Rock as a volunteer and had such a profound experience there. And I'm just fascinated with how Standing Rock, so many amazing things have come from it. So many things, not just connections, but organizations. And I love it that people came together to take a stand, and so much has come from it. I just thought I'd mention that for those of you who might maybe want to go back and listen to the interview with Tommy as well.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I would love to listen to that interview. And just as you were speaking, I got goosebumps all over and teary-eyed, because it really was this moment in time that inspired so many people. And we might not have totally shut down that pipeline, but I believe that was a gravity point in the climate justice movement that really shifted the direction of all of our work and also all of our values, to really step back, especially as white people, and follow the lead of our Indigenous relatives. I think that's one of the most important lessons that came for many people. And I also believe it got many, many people activated within the climate justice space. And one of the most beautiful things, I was there for a number of months, was to see the people that were flying in from all over the world to show solidarity. Again, just like the fact that the climate crisis is something that is actually bringing us all together, and bringing us together as a planet, as opposed to dividing us as nations.
Please share more about your experience there. Sorry, Alicia.
No,
I was just going to say, share more about that experience for those of us who weren't there.
It's really hard to put into words. All I can say is that it changed my life. I think more than anything, to be on the ground and seeing that in a lot of ways our police system is like a military protecting the oil and gas industry, and that a lot of the change is not going to come from a colonial setup government that was based in patriarchy. That the change is going to come from the people, and the people that it should come from are the people that were here before the invasion, essentially. And so again, it's really about turning the attention and the leadership towards those who it really belongs to. So I for me, that was it. And that's the reason that I actually work for Earth Guardians, is because of my experience at Standing Rock.
Well, we have to keep in mind that Indigenous peoples are somewhere between 4 to 5% of the planet, right? Yeah. And yet, in charge of the stewards of 80% of what's going on with mother at this point, in protecting that portion of what's happening on the planet. So the fact that so many came to this call from all over speaks volumes as to where the people are collectively, whether you are native, whether you're Indigenous or not. You know, it speaks to that call, the very core of who you are, because we recognize these things have to change in order for us to have a healthy, sustainable existence. And we have to think of this for this next 7 generations. We have to. Every thought, every action, every word, it has to be that in mind.
So this is a huge epiphany for me, for both of you, for you to say that it shifted the direction of the climate justice movement, and it was an indicator for white people to step back, right? Take a step back, because these Indigenous leaders are the ones who need to lead this movement and be acknowledged. That is just profound to me. It really is. And then so many people flying in from all over the world. I'm totally tearing up this whole time about this topic, because, and they're coming in to show their solidarity, right? That leads me to what Jess and I were going to talk about today, which is more about looking at the work in Haiti and other places as well, right? As doing something in solidarity. She's a solidarity activist and an anthropologist. And really the point being that people don't want charity. It can't be about charity. And I know, Alicia, you can speak to this probably more than anyone. So,
well, there was a reason why the topic of the day was going to be collective healing, you know. And Jess and I have even had this conversation before. You know, sometimes I hear, when I talk to people about working in Haiti, you know, I hear, oh, those poor Haitians. It's not about those poor Haitians. These are some of the most powerful, strong, resilient, creative people that I've met. We talk about that philosophy of, you know, if you've come here because you just want to help me, you think I'm that person who needs the help, but you don't recognize that we are intertwined in this, right? We work together, we rise together. And that's what all of this work is about. I'm sorry, I'm reading a comment that just popped up about what Adler is sharing and some of the project information. Yeah, we can respond to that. You will hear from our crew in Petit Goev that this crew is leading by a committee of 4 members. Now we actually work on 2 projects. All right, for the first one, we received the Her Many Voices support to implement it. Yes. It is in 2 parts: a foundation for children and women well-being in Trushushu, plus a cooperative business in agricultural field. The project is running now. Our next action will be the education quality, a commentary, what is that? No, a communitary laboratory in support to practical teaching in chemistry, biology, technology, and Petit Coeur. Yeah. Alicia and Earth Guardians will know more later. Thank you, Adler. And I have to say, Adler is right now, he is in the Port-au-Prince region of Haiti writing in. So it's good to know we've got Haiti here. We've got Attila from from Green Revolution is here in Amsterdam. So it's nice to know that we're reaching the globe in this.
I know that Tommy is also listening in, who we just mentioned from last month.
Hey, Tommy. It's good to know that you're out there, my brother.
He's saying that Earth Guardians is a perfect group to have part of Harmony Voices Foundation, and one that we should all get behind for Earth Day.
Absolutely.
A lot of solidarity out there, right?
Yes. Yeah, and Kelly, what you don't know is that also Tommy's father, he has been a steward of the land for many, many, many years. He has planted thousands upon thousands and thousands of trees and educated youth beyond belief for maybe, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years, something like that. And he continues to do that in Hawaii. So we have Eli to thank for that too, Tommy's dad.
Thank you for your work in Hawaii, Tommy, and your father too, for the Kingdom of Hawaii. I had the honor of getting to live off and on for 10 years in Kauai, so I have a lot of reverence for the Hawaiian Islands and the magic and the beauty of the Hawaiian Islands. Much like I think a lot of people had the epiphany, the water is life, through the Standing Rock movement, which seems very fundamental when you think about it, how important caring for our water is, because caring for our water is what affects all of us and all living things and the health of all living things. I had that epiphany in Hawaii, out in the ocean surfing, and that's another place that really shifted my own personal story and perspective of doing environmental justice work, is being out in the water so often and just wanting to protect the oceans so other people could get in the water and enjoy it the same way, as well as protecting all of the living beings, the coral, whatnot, that live in the magical, mysterious world of the waters of the ocean. So thank you, Tommy.
And I don't know if you two are aware, just this last week, Hawaii had snow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
I think that
unusual.
speaks volumes as to what's happening in the planet.
Yeah, a lot of my friends in Kauai were like battening down the hatches. They weren't getting snow, but they were getting like temperatures in the low 60s, which is quite unusual also.
Yeah. Kelly, can you think of anything else that you'd like to share? I mean, we've had a wonderful conversation and we have a few more minutes here before we take questions. Just anything else that you want to share with everyone?
Yeah, I guess a couple of things. One is just to go back to our comment around really letting people of color, Indigenous people, lead the way within the climate justice movement. I felt odd as a white woman here speaking for my organization. I'm honored and grateful to. And after the murder of George Floyd, I think a lot of organizations went through a process of putting their, especially within the environmental movement, and I think in a lot of different sectors, putting their organization through an equity lens, a justice, equity, diversion, and inclusion lens. And I can say with just so much pride that our organization rose up to that. And the demographics of our organization is mostly youth-led and mostly BIPOC-led at this point. And again, I just think that those are the voices that really need to be at the forefront of this conversation, because those are the voices that have the solutions. One of the reasons we decided to start the Indigenous initiative is that Indigenous peoples, like Alicia is saying, are the ones that are still caretaking the earth and know those ways of caretaking the earth. capitalism and selling carbon on the market, that's not going to get us out of this situation. What's going to get us out of this situation is to give the due respect and leadership to Native and Indigenous peoples to be able to care, to guide us in how to make relations again with our natural environment, as well as the fact that people of color are usually the most affected by the climate crisis and have done the least to actually create it. A lot of the creation of the climate crisis is by privileged European communities that have been consuming more than needs to be consumed for the planet to be able to be sustained. So I just want to put an emphasis on that point, and just welcome anyone to start their own crew in their own communities. And if people are listening and want to develop partnerships like Alicia and I have been speaking of, again, I feel like the only way that we're going to work our way out of this problem, which can actually be a savior in some ways, is to create these alliances and these partnerships and these bridges. Please reach out. And Alicia, thank you so much. It's an honor to work with you. It was an honor to meet you around our friend hemp, and then to be continuing to forge these different partnerships and relations. And Adler, Sebastian, thank you for all your work you're doing on the ground in Haiti. And so good to meet you too, Myrna. And I look forward to hopefully getting to know you better as well. So just thanks for letting me come and speak about the work that we're doing. And yeah, we just hope that some of you are lit up out there from this conversation and want to follow some of our youth leaders, want to potentially come to one of our trainings, want to apply for one of our project grants, want to become a crew, et cetera, and so on and so forth. So thank you for.
And the best way to find out about what's going on with Earth Guardians and how they can maybe connect with you guys and work with you, what do they need to do?
Yeah, you can go to our website, www.earthguardians.org. We have a very active Instagram because a lot of our audience is youth. So you could just find us at Earth Guardians on Instagram, and then also Facebook. And there are many of our crews and chapters that have their own Facebook pages, their own Instagram feeds as well. But just look for just straight Earth Guardians.
Okay.
That's great. Can I also find geographic information? Say I'm in Denver. Can I go in there and find out what's happening in my location?
Yeah, so we have a map of all of our active crews on our website, so you can find out that way. You can also, anyone is welcome to email me, and I can connect you with other Earth Guardian crews if there are ones that are in your area.
That's great. We have a comment here, a question actually. Do you think that funding grassroots activists will make a change in climate action?
I'm
Yeah,
going that to you, Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're going to put your money in one place, I would say helping to support activists that are doing the work on the ground, finding a organization that you really believe in to donate to that are doing good work, supporting grassroots activists. Do that instead of buying your next plane ticket or your next pair of high heels or your next pair of like whatever it might be, getting your nails done or whatever. Like, yes, of course. I think that that's a great place to put your support and your money. That's why I work for a nonprofit, is because this is what I believe in doing.
I'm right there with you, Kelly girl. I'm right there with you. So Green Revolution said that they would be happy to join this collaborative action.
Awesome. I can't wait to get to meet you guys.
Attila Suba is a force to be reckoned with. He's wonderful to watch on stage. He's got a lot of energy out there, and he's got a strong vision and a passion. And the reason why I am here is because this man contacted me and shared where his heart was, what his vision was, and how he feels that we have to make this shift, this pivoting moment to make sure that we have a legacy that we get to leave behind for our children. And And so listening to him, I was so inspired. He ignited something in me to say, okay, I'm booking my flight. I'm going to spend some time out there with you. We're going to make these alliances. We're going to have these meetings with the folks who can make a difference. You know, as far as opening up the doors, allowing finances to flow, giving thumbs up on certain projects, instead of impeding what really needs to happen, you know.
That's
Because there are
wonderful.
many of us, there are so many of us that are out here who are doing the good work. And there's so much more to do that we can do. But we need those gatekeepers to open up. So,
Yeah. I want to make a tie for people. I'm going to help people understand the tie between the climate and humanity. As you know, I've owned a magazine for 18 years called Apogeospatial about long-term sustainability of the planet using data from space. And the bottom line is, the reason we care so much about the planet is because people need a place to live, right? Humanity needs Mother Earth, our home, a place to live. So that's, I think, a very oversimplified way to tie together why we care so much about the climate and the planet itself, and because it is for humanity.
yeah, you know, you see it over and over again. You hear it over and over again. There is no planet B. Mother Earth is here. We are from her. We will return to her. We need to tend to her. We are her children. All beings are. And so we need to start acting like we are related the way we are, and tending to her, nurturing, because she gives to us everything that we need to thrive. We have that responsibility.
And I'll just add to that we live on a planet that's absolutely beautiful. Why would we not want to take care of this gem that we were blessed to pop out of the universe and onto Mother Earth at our time of birth, right? So this is like a true gem where we live, and we should be honored to protect her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Stunning beauty, everything. It's incredible, full of life, resonating at the same electromagnetic field resonance as humanity, right? Like we are all one, and it's in the science. It's in the science too.
It is in the science.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we need to raise that collective vibration. And I truly feel like when we have moments like this, when we come together, we get to do that. All right, Aisla is reminding me, maybe we need to mention that we're participating in Colorado Gives Day. All right. Okay, since I'm out of town, is Colorado Gives happening today?
I think so.
Okay, this could be the day, right?
Yes.
So just as a reminder, the other day we had Giving Tuesday. And so today, yet again, you have an opportunity to support the work that Her Many Voices has been doing, and the collaboration in the organizations such as Earth Guardians and Green Revolution. So please, please, please keep us in mind. Write out that check, send in that PayPal. Anything you can do to help us out would be greatly appreciated. All right,
Yes.
I'm looking at another, let's see, we have more messages coming in.
I think she's going to share another link for us, and then Kelly can talk about it.
Yeah, great. So if folks on this call are inspired to start their own crew, it's like a chapter, wherever they're located across the globe, that's just the link for starting your own crew. And it's a registration link, and then we'll onboard you and start to bring you into the organization, and then help with various resources to get you started in your communities.
All of these
and
links.
Kelly, when you talk about, sorry, Myrna.
All of these links will be in the show notes. I just wanted to mention.
Yep. And so, Kelly, when you're talking about crews, now, does that have to be, is there a minimum to start a crew, a minimum amount of people? Can it be a crew of one? How does that go?
Yeah, actually, our operations director, who we just hired on a couple of months ago, she started her crew with either 1 or 2 people and then grew it to 30. So there's no minimum, there's no maximum, there's no age limit. And yet we are really working to foster this younger generation of leaders. But if you're my age and you want to start a crew, get youth that you know involved, please, just www.earthguardians.org/crews, I believe. It was just, yeah.
So those of us who are in my generation, you know, if you're young at heart, you can consider yourself a part of the youth crew.
Mhm.
Everybody gets to act, right? Everybody gets to contribute. So, and it's wonderful when these things are happening and it's intergenerational, right? That's a great balance if it's intergenerational.
Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? There's not that many opportunities we have for that kind of interaction to really do meaningful work with people of all ages. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our elders, they bring to the table so much wisdom, and young people have that drive and that passion. And the environment, our earth mother is speaking to us. These plants, the waters, the trees, they are speaking to us. We just have to take that time to listen and come together instead of being so distracted by these, you know, little dangling things here and there that just do nothing but divide us. So these are the perfect ways of coming together. Kellie, I want to thank you again for coming in at the last minute. For everybody out there, we were concerned, Jess was concerned about the internet in Haiti. And, you know, it can be really unpredictable. And like I said, we had a good half hour of Jess being with us. And then suddenly 5 minutes before the show, it went out. She went black. So Kellie was a sweetheart and really stepped in at the last minute. So thank you, thank you. Jeremy Hale, we're hearing Jeremy is also part of the Green Revolution. Age is just a number. We need every generation to come together. Absolutely, Jeremy. Absolutely. Yes. And you get to do that here at Her Many Voices and with Earth Guardians and Green Revolution. Every age is welcome. We all get to contribute to make a better world for everyone.
Kellie, any last thoughts?
Just gratitude. Just thank you, Alicia, for all that you do and Her Many Voices does, and for bringing us into this collaboration with different leaders in Haiti in this movement, and for having me be able to come on and just represent my organization the best that I could today. So just thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Myrna, for coming in and, you know, sticking with us today. Yeah, there's nothing like being blindsided at the last minute when you are the host of a show.
Yep.
Well, thank you for sticking around, Alicia. I love your in-depth knowledge of Haiti, and this was just wonderful. Thank you so much, both of you.
All right, everyone.
Her many voices.